All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this universe it is that you may or may not happen to be. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live Journey of Self Discovery Update Edition. I'm feeling good this evening, very good actually. Um, I've settled in to where I am as of current. And I love it where I am right now. I would love to share exactly where I am, but unfortunately, I contend with a level of stalking and harassment, so I can't, which is probably for my own good and to my benefit because as I get older, I definitely need to be more private about my life, at least certain areas of my life. So, anyway, I'm just feeling good. Soaked in the hot tub for a little bit, roasted some gourmet sausages over an open flame, which is one of my favorite things to do. But here's what I realized today, okay? Now, the previous place where I stayed, and hey, Sharon, how are you doing? Yeah, well, where I am, Sharon, even if I were to disclose the location, um, you would need four-wheel drive to get here. And you'd really have to be on a mission because from any major populace, I'm pretty much at least 2.5 hours out by car, driving at between 45 to 65 miles an hour, you know? So I'm okay. But yeah, the world is in an uproar, at least in the United States, within a certain political party right now because of a recent alleged assassination, you know? I'm going to say alleged because we don't really know what exactly happened in that instance. But now is definitely not the time if you're somebody who's a stalker or a harasser to be publicly aggressive, considering a few things that have happened. But I am fine. I am absolutely fine. And people who care about me, they know where I'm at, they know what I'm up to. But anyway, what I was saying is that something I realized tonight is that when I'm ready to create my personal homestead, where I will probably live until I drop dead of natural causes, I am going to have both an outdoor fire pit that is for burning wood, but I'm also going to have one that is propane powered via gas. Because as much as I like building a wood fire outdoors, it can be tedious. And it's fun to do if you have the time and the patience and whatnot. But if you just want to roast some marshmallows or roast some meat or sausages, but still be outside and you want it to be quick, you want to do it over a propane flame. Hey, Psyche, how are you doing? I will admit, I do have another favorite streamer who surpassed all my previous favorite streamers, but he's more than a streamer. My friendly acquaintance, Psyche Awakens. Everyone make sure that you all check out his channel and whatnot. He's one of my favorite people. I can't wait to see everything else that he decides to share with us because it's going to be great. But yeah, so whenever and it's not going to be next year. It won't be the year after that. Probably when I'm 49. That's when I'm going to put together where I'm going to live for the rest of my life. But I'm definitely going to have a lot of land around me, and I'm going to have a lot of outdoor places to hang out around my house because I like being outside more than I like being inside, weather permitting. I mean, if it's cold out, I definitely don't want to be outside. But if it's nice weather and where I am for my biochemistry is near perfect weather. It just is. Yeah, I will have both, Sharon. I will. And when I create my dream residence, you, Sharon, will be free to come out and visit me. Psyche can come out and visit me. Um, those of you who follow me regularly, you probably got to know a woman known as DJ Electra last night. She's cool. It's rare that I really get a chance to vibe with somebody who's female around my age. And she is that person. I had so much fun talking to her last night. She made talking to another friend of mine, Mr. Big Pipes, enjoyable. Hey, mermaid, how are you doing? How are you doing? So, yeah, that's what I came to the realization of tonight. I will need both a gas fire pit and a fire pit where I can build a wood burning fire from time to time because there is something extra spiritual and special about building a wood fire. It just is. That's what I did at the previous place where I was, and that was a lot of fun. The only problem with that previous place was that, and it wasn't a problem, but it helped me understand that I do need to have a land buffer around me when I decide to live where I want to live permanently. I also want to be at a high elevation, and I preferably would like to build where I live on a little bit of a hill if possible. Another thing I've realized is that I will not be living in a very large house at all. Smaller, the better. I do want to have guest quarters for people who might come to visit me. But if I have land around me, they could always stay in an RV and plug themselves into my utilities or whatever. Um, but like for family and stuff, like where I am, a lot of people do build really amazing, super functional, what they consider tiny houses. But to me, they're not that tiny. I mean, I, I have a feeling that as I get older, I'll probably have like a friend that is also living with me on the property. I'm not necessarily sure if it would be a romantic partner or not, because I'm kind of, I won't say I've given up, but I'm not looking. If someone finds me who meshes with me, great, but I've had really good romances in my life. I was married once when I was young, so, you know, got that under my belt. I've had relationships that were essentially as long as my marriage, or at least almost as long as the marriage. So I know what long-term relationships are, but I only want to surround myself with people that I really, really, really like. Well, what I'm thinking about doing, Mermaid, and I don't know if I want to do it like officially as a outreach or anything or an organization. I think I'd be better off keeping the situation unofficial, just me as an individual. But I do want to help certain women who need help to start over. If I lived on a property that maybe had three tiny homes, you know, when no one needs help, maybe I could just rent them on like a vacation stay basis kind of thing. But when somebody needs help, they could have somewhere to be rent free or if I, do have somebody in my life that I really like platonically, they could live there, and that way I wouldn't be by myself. But what I like about the tiny homes, because I'm thinking, okay, what if I am older and totally by myself? I got to be able to, maintain where I'm living. And that doesn't only take money, but, physically, I need to be able to maintain it. So a tiny home works for me because, I don't have any kids that I could reach out to or anything. And I have family, but I'm not going to bother them as I get older and whatnot. Not the young ones. I want them to live, be free. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to take care of me. I'm hoping they'll have an AI android robot for that, like, Data from Star Trek or something. That'll be who I need or what I need. But even if I'm living with somebody, they're probably going to be around my age, and they might be more feeble than me. So I got to be able to maintain. So I think that the tiny houses are a good solution. Another thing I was thinking that I want for my permanent residence, I want to have an independent freestanding building. Again, probably a tiny home shell of some sort that I can turn into a library, because I like books a lot, physical books. And, you know, I want to, in my later years, build a really good book collection. And if there's young people in the area where I'm living who have a passion for books or who are just curious about books, I want them to be able to visit and, experience what a small library is really like. I want, or maybe older people too. I want people to be able to come by and check out books, maybe have some tea and coffee. Again, I want to keep this, private, to where if I don't want someone to come by, I can be like, hey, don't trespass. Ha ha ha, get out. But I do want to build something like that. So I've stayed in so many places. I mean, a lot of you have seen me travel all over, and I've really learned from staying in so many places what works for me, what I want in my ultimate residence versus what I don't. I've learned a lot of ways to create something inexpensively, but that's really comfortable. So I'm excited. Again, I'm not going to do this until a couple years from now, but I'm really fortunate that I've been able to travel as I have over the past few years, because it's only through travel that you figure out really where you want to be in the long term. If I hadn't traveled as I have, I would have made the wrong choice for where I want to be in my older years. I definitely would have. Now I know exactly where I want to be. I'll tell you what's funny. Um, I sent a picture to my mom today showing her some of the desert landscape and whatnot where I am. And her main reply was, "It looks so dry." And I'm like, yes, it is dry. I'm going to have to send her a long explanation as to exactly why I like it out here. Because my mom will always be a Southeast Florida woman, which is a great thing. She is tropical, she loves the tropics. And that's her. For me, that is not at all a compatible environment for me, really. I'm not against the tropics or islands. My sister loves the tropics, loves islands, all that stuff. Not me. I never have. You know, I think it's fine maybe in the winter for maybe a month at max. But no, I hate humidity. and I don't like um, just how the air feels. It's too heavy for me. I don't like being at sea level. I'm okay with the ocean, but I'm not a fan. I, I definitely have never been a little mermaid in a previous life, even though we do have a mermaid in the chat. But yeah, I like bone dry, no humidity. I actually think that the desert, I could be wrong. I've never researched this, but I think the desert has less germs than humid climates. I'm going to look that up on the AI right now because I'm curious. Because I am a little agoraphobic and germophobic. I've always been this way. I don't like mess either. I'm tragically OCD. And when I realized how much better I feel in the desert, I think I would be a good candidate to live on Mars. I've said this for a long time. If they ever start colonizing Mars, I probably wouldn't stay on that planet indefinitely, but I would go. I would definitely go. I think it's the perfect planet for me. Okay, let me ask AI. What would be the question? Let's see. I guess does the desert have less germs, viruses, and disease than tropical or jungle climates? Okay, let's see what it says. Great question. The short answer is yes. I knew it. I knew it. Deserts generally have fewer germs, viruses, and disease causing organisms compared to tropical or jungle climates. Okay. Okay. Exceptions. All right. There is something called um, coccidioidomycosis. In other words, valley fever, a soil fungus. And also, if there's poor sanitation, that can be a problem. But aside from that, it's better. Aside from that, hey, Jamie, how are you doing? So, for me, the desert is just better. And I would like to get my mom out here just so that she can experience it because my mom has visited Nevada before, but she hasn't been where I am right now. And I think that health wise, she might feel better out here, but you can't force anyone to visit anywhere. But I do want to show her this area at some point. So, what else is going on with me? Not too much. I want to do some video streams this weekend. I think that would be a good idea. At least one. And that's about it. That's about it. How are all of you doing? Sharon says that she lives close to the ocean. She felt it. She felt so much better in Arizona and New Mexico. Yeah, I arthritis runs in my family, and I'm better off in a low humidity environment. If I have to visit people in a humid environment, I will, but not for a long time. Nopey, nope, nope, nope. So I would say over the past few years, I've successfully become a functional and happy minimalist. I have very, very, very few belongings, and I want to keep it that way for a while. And I'm looking forward to Christmas time. I am definitely looking forward to the holiday season this year. It's going to be different this year because my dad's no longer here and his birthday was on Christmas. So it'll be a celebratory time, but it'll also be a little sad. I'm not sure where I'm going to spend Christmas this year. I'm not sure. And I'm not going to even think about it until maybe the beginning of December. I think that would be a good idea. Wait until the beginning of December and then I'll think about it. I'm learning how to force myself not to overthink certain things anymore. You know, it does take a level of discipline to do that, at least for me. But it's all about controlling your mind. Maybe that's why I like to be in kind of isolated places because I have a lot more time to really work within my own mind. Definitely. And as I was saying in a previous stream, I think that I'm better off away from certain frequencies that electronics and other things emit. I think a lot of us are overly inundated with frequencies, you know, between Wi Fi, radio frequencies, television frequencies. Who knows what other frequencies are out there that we haven't even been told about yet. Um, I need to be away from cities. I feel so much better. So much better. And I do like being able to see the stars. I really like that a lot. So that's it for today. Hey, Mindy, how are you doing? I'm going to go ahead and get going. Thank you for listening and everything. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll tell you, as much as I'm complaining about frequencies, I am very grateful for the internet, social media, feeling like, you know, I can visit with people that I really enjoy while I'm out here by myself. But I like being by myself, and I'm not too by myself. You know, there are some people around, and they do look out for you, especially if they know that you're a single woman. And it's nice. People in these areas, they do tend to, like when you go to the store, they introduce themselves to you. And if they know that you're a single woman, you know, if they don't see you, they're going to be like, better check on her. And that's good. But nobody's intrusive. And that's a good thing because I don't want to be intruded upon, at least not at this point in my life. So take care. Have a great one, everybody. And I'll be on video at some point. Bye bye. Thank you, Sharon.